I don't think that niche means small or limited or being stuck in a box. I think it just means that you have a space where the partnerships that you do have feel authentic and they can just naturally perform better because your audience already knows what you're going to put out there and what they're going to get from you at that time.
Welcome to Marketing Happy Hour. I'm Cassie, consultant, podcaster, and your host. Every Thursday, you'll hear episodes packed with insights from brand leaders on an array of topics, from crafting effective marketing strategies and hitting career goals to building leadership skills and launching your own business. Inspired by those unfiltered happy hour combos with peers, this show is all about practical, empowering chats to support your professional journey. So grab your favorite drink and let's get to the episode. Today, I am joined by former Marketing Happy Hour guest and brand communications manager of Walgreens, Kamara Turner. Welcome back to the show, Kamara. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad to be back. It was a great experience the first time, so happy to catch up. How are you?
I am doing well. We were just talking offline. I feel like this year has been a lot of travel, and we chatted back. Gosh, you said what, September or
Yeah.
so?
Yep.
So, my goodness, time has
Well,
flown
it
since
has.
then.
I feel like I've done so much since then. Like you said, lots of traveling,
Yeah.
a lot of work related things too, and a lot of extracurricular stuff outside of work as well that I've picked up. So, but yeah, it's been really nice. Summer's been great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good.
Oh my, wait, extracurricular stuff that you've picked up outside of work, anything fun and exciting lately that you've
I
been
am part
doing?
of a volleyball league now.
Oh, fun. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
gosh.
grew up playing volleyball, so I decided to kind of get back into it. I mean, it's summer, Chicago summers are undefeated, so I just decided to join a league. It's been great. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's fun. That's fun. I feel like we talk about this all the time in the show, but
Mhm.
having that kind of stuff is so important just
Oh
to
yeah.
fuel yourself at work and just tap into any of those like passions or skill sets. So I love that you're doing that. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to get inspired outside of work too and kind of bring
Yep.
things to work every day. So that's kind of what I've been finding. Like lots of extracurricular like volleyball, reading more, just
Yeah.
connecting with people more, figuring out what other people are doing. I think it's been really helpful for, figuring out how to approach work in a different way too. And just
Yeah.
feel more recharged as well before you go to work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. The reading thing is something I'm really slacking on this year, but I need to get back to it. So
I
I'll have
know.
to
I
ask
have like
you.
so many books on my shelf
Great.
that's like
Yeah,
did not finish that yet, but I'll
I
get back to
know.
it.
I
Did
know.
not finish that. Oh well.
Yeah. I know. The TBR is a little too big
Hmm.
right now, but we'll
Yeah.
get to it. We're busy. We're busy girls. We're doing
Yep.
our thing. Yeah, it's totally fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing.
Of course.
So of course I have to ask you, I mean, you're familiar with this question, but I gotta ask
Mhm.
you, what's just been in your glass lately? Anything new and fun or different?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, like physically, I'm drinking a culture pop right now.
Love it.
I've been drinking a lot of um like the better for you sodas.
Yes.
I've fallen into the trap, but they're actually really good. So,
Yeah.
I've been loving that. But yeah, just like a lot of traveling, extracurricular stuff for the most part.
Hmm.
Kind of bringing that back to work any way that
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, for sure. I love those. I'm currently sipping on like a carrot ginger juice, which
Ooh,
is great. However, like you, I've been
yeah.
traveling a lot lately and I'm like, I don't want to get any sort of sickness or
Hmm.
anything.
Yeah,
So
just
whatever
being
I can
on a
do.
plane and you're just like
Yes.
airports in general. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm like, stay away. I don't
Yeah.
need any of that. So, trying to get my vitamins in. Um, Amazing. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me again. I gotta tell you, like you listening, please follow her on LinkedIn. I'll have all of your links below and everything, but I love your newsletter.
Thank
I love
you.
everything you put out there. It's so incredibly helpful, and we'll tap into that and talk a little bit more about some of those posts that at
Yeah.
least have stood out to me recently. But just kudos to you for everything that you, again, extracurricular, like LinkedIn is kind of like an extra thing, right? Like it
Yeah.
is fun to share what we're doing in our careers, but it's
It takes
optional. And I
planning,
think
yeah,
it's,
and it takes
yeah, and
planning
it's so
sometimes.
nice. So thank you for quite literally sharing your perspective. I appreciate it. But tell us, like last time we spoke,
Hmm.
what's kind of changed maybe in your role or your approach to brand communications at
Yeah.
Walgreens?
Yeah, so definitely more focus on the brand side of things. That's kind of been my role in general, but I think my approach has changed quite a bit. So I think I'm more intentional about storytelling that connects like product moments to real life and kind of leaning that into culture. So before I start planning these big campaigns, I like to ask myself, like, where does this campaign or where does this product naturally fit into what people are already doing, thinking about, caring about? So, like, a lot of it that we're focused on at Walgreens is like skincare, wellness, like coming up like back to school stuff. So really focusing on, telling those stories that feel relevant to moments in time. And instead of like leading with product, I like to lead with like a human insight. So what it means to be prepared for cold and flu season as a parent, or how someone might use, Walgreens beauty aisle as like a way to feel good before a big event. So just finding those moments in time that relate back to the product and how we can leverage that in that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. The storytelling element is really fascinating. I think, obviously, as our feeds have gotten more inundated with content, being able to connect with people in a different way other than just saying, here's a product, here's what it does,
Right.
like how can that kind of emotional engagement happen with
Yeah.
that content? So I love that that's something you guys are thinking about right now.
Yeah. And sometimes it is focused on product and that is like the highlight, but thinking about how that product can show up in people's everyday life, because that's when people
Right.
start to care and that's what they want. They want something that makes their everyday life easier. So I think that's one thing that's been really helpful for me.
Yeah, I love that. And so with that too, are there any recent campaigns or projects that you've gotten to be a part of that you're really proud of working on
Yeah.
and what you contributed there? And like what do you feel just from a learning standpoint worked? And maybe what did you learn just overall through that too?
I would say our Valentine's Day campaign. So we started off with the human insight, of course, that over like half of Valentine's Day purchases actually happened the day before Valentine's Day or the day of. So that was the main angle that we focused on. And to tell the story of just because you're shopping last minute, it doesn't mean the gift that you're giving doesn't have to be, can't be thoughtful. So we ran with that insight and created these influencer seeding kits called Be Mine baskets. They were so cute, and they were customizable gift baskets filled with things that you can grab at Walgreens really quick, like our premium skincare line, candy, slippers, plush toys, and pitch them to media and also influencers as a way to pull together a gift that feels personal, even if it's done last minute. And so the baskets were featured on broadcast segments. We sent them to influencers who posted them on social. So just seeing that impact and showing how people were speaking to them externally was great. I believe 56% of the media placements featured like Walgreens exclusively in the content, which was great. And I would say what worked really well was keeping the messaging super relatable and tapping into how people actually shop for these holidays. So being mindful of timing, being mindful of personalization, and when it comes to influencer relations, I would say being mindful of timing. So sending the baskets a week in advance really helped us because it made sure that the baskets were top of mind for the influencers, but also we gave them enough time to actually receive the product and create content, because we know it can take a lot of time to create mindful and really engaging content. So not only being mindful of what's in the product, but making sure it gets to them in a timely manner, I think worked really well for us.
Oh, that's awesome. And we'll go back to influencers and creators here in a minute. But you mentioned just about this learning of, most people do their shopping the day before, the day of.
Yeah.
How important is like those data insights to you all, in addition to, oh, we have this creative idea for this campaign, awesome, but the addition of backing it with data, like what do you feel, why is that so important to do just as a creative and as a team, you think?
Yeah, it shows truth, I think, and I think that's what media specifically look for. They want a story that relates back to like human truth and human insight. So being able to show that in data, I think, is a great way to back up why we're telling this story, and then why our products or why this campaign is relevant at the time. So we always try to lead with data, and I think that's something that a lot of people can use to speak to why the product or why the campaign is really relevant at the time or right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell professionals all the time too, like even from a pitch standpoint, like you're presenting this idea to a leader, to a manager, getting
Right.
them even to buy into it in the first
Oh
place, like
yeah.
coming back with some of that information and then, allowing it to shine through in the actual content that you're creating for consumers. I think that's so important to
Yeah.
keep tabs on that.
Yeah, leaders love
Yeah.
data. They love when you
Yeah.
can back up something that shows a proof point. It shows how consumers see us, but then also it shows how it can relay back to the business and match these business goals or objectives that, they want to focus on at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to creators and influencers. So again, you recently posted on LinkedIn just about how creators who stick to their niche win. How are you identifying and partnering with niche creators? What's kind of that process? Let's say, for example, a Valentine's Day campaign or something else. How are you vetting who you should be collaborating with there?
I've found that niche creators bring something really valuable, and those things are trust and consistency. So their audience knows exactly what they're going to get from them, whether it's focused on wellness, parenting, restaurants, whatever it is. I think that's where the niche is important. And when partnering with these influencers, I'm being more intentional about finding creators who aren't just posting trends that are popular at the time, but they're building a community around a clear focus. And so looking beyond a follower account is really important. So is this someone whose voice aligns with our values as a company? Do they have the authority to speak to this in their space? Are their followers or their audience actually going to care about what we're offering? So when it comes to different campaigns, I think a great example is like our holiday campaign. We focus a lot on cold and flu season and being healthy for the holidays before all these big events. We didn't just focus on partnering with, the generic lifestyle influencers for this. We found creators who are really focused on, parenting hacks, everyday wellness routines, staying healthy. And we felt that the content was just way more natural and actionable for what they already post, and kind of weaves into their everyday content that they already have out there. I don't think that niche means small or limited or being stuck in a box. I think it just means that you have a space where the partnerships that you do have feel authentic, and they can just naturally perform better because your audience already knows what you're going to put out there and what they're going to get from you at that time.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's, typically really niche creators know their audience well. And of course,
Yep.
your audience as a brand. So I think, again, just going back to that like data and being able to prove why a campaign or why a collaboration works, just having that to back you
Yeah.
is so important. So thinking from like a traditional PR sense or a modern PR sense, I should say, what's your current view on how influencer partnerships are a part of that mix, and how are you measuring success in those collaborations? I feel like this structure kind of changes on a regular basis, especially how the platforms are changing and how consumer consumption is changing, but just curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, and to that, I think that measuring success can change based on the campaign too, just based
Right.
on what you're looking for or what you're hoping to get out of the campaign. So I see influencers as an extension of earned media now. So we're still pitching reporters, we're still partnering with creators as well, but like to think that influencers have a way of showcasing that consumers are a lot more engaged when they post content that's relevant to them. So you'll see comments like, "Oh, I didn't know this. Thanks for sharing," or "I just picked this up at Walgreens today. Thanks for letting us know about it." And we've also seen a lot of success with tracking retail traffic if possible. Social saves are really important too, because that means that the consumer is looking at it and is hoping to go back to it for the future. And even if different media outlets are picking up creator content, which a lot of them are doing now, I think that's a great measuring tactic as well. So I like to say I see influencers as like culture translators. They bring the message into people's everyday life, and as people are scrolling on their phones every day, they're seeing these things in real time, and they might not be thinking about the brand or the company at the time, but having that content come to life, it puts the brand or the product top of mind for the viewer or the consumer.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about this in your last episode that you did on the show, but reporters and traditional media being still a part of that mix. How
Yeah.
are you seeing, I know this also changes on a regular basis, but how are you seeing kind of the best places and ways to be connecting with media today?
I would say a lot of in-person events I think are really important, but then also, I mean, keeping up with what they're actually writing about and just being as personalized as possible. I found the most success in if I'm pitching a reporter saying, "Hey, I saw that you recently wrote about this, so I think you'd be interested in this, if you're writing about something similar in the future." So just being more personalized really helps. And then in-person events are really important too, because then they can match a face with the name. Hopping on
Hmm.
the phone with reporters, I know a lot of people don't like to talk on the phone anymore, but a
Yeah.
lot of reporters still do like to talk on the phone, especially to get last minute updates, or it just makes them feel like they're getting an update in real time. So hopping on the phone with them, leaving a voicemail, anything just to show that it's a more personalized experience for them and that you're thinking about them and not just pitching out, anyone or anything that'll pick the story up. I found success in.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I loved the note of in-person connection too.
Hmm.
Just as an example to emphasize how important that is, I was at a PRSA event last month and we did like a media mashup roundtable thing where reporters would kind of pop to different tables and talk
Oh,
to
cool.
people. It was really great. And watching the reporters light up when they met someone in person that they
Hmm.
have exchanged so many emails with was
Yeah,
so funny, but they got so excited and you could just tell that for them was a really good strengthening connection. So I
yeah,
guarantee, the next time that person emails them with a story,
yep,
that's almost an immediate open, right? Because they
yeah.
have this memory of engaging with this person in person. So yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
was
huge.
recently in New York at a media event, talking about holiday. I mean, reporters are already talking about holiday, which is crazy. But,
Yes.
talking to those reporters face to face and like seeing their name and then following up with them after so they actually remember who I am or who I was, I think that also helps to build a lot of personal relationships with reporters. So I found the most success in that. I think this is the third time I've done this holiday event with reporters in real life, and I do feel like I have those reporters I can lean on and go back to because they know who I am from seeing me in person and talking in person and building that relationship. So I definitely agree in person is the best way to go about it, just like any other relationship really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. So slight pivot. I want to talk a
Hmm.
little bit about your newsletter, but also just your presence in general on LinkedIn. Again,
Hmm.
we already talked about this amazing follow, so thank you for everything that you
Yeah.
put out there. But tell us a little bit about Pulse and Perspective and what inspired you to start it and how to like. Do you feel like that has elevated who you are as a professional or a career person as well?
Definitely. So, Posts in Perspective started as just a way for me to stay up to date on what's going on in the PR, comms, and brand marketing world. So, it selfishly started as something for me to stay up to date on, but then I realized that it's also really helpful for other people as well because people are busy. They just want to get downloaded on things really quickly. So, my goal was to not make the newsletter very long. I keep about 3 or at max 4 campaigns that I really highlight in each edition of the newsletter. But it really talks about how these brand marketing campaigns are connected to strategy and how they show up because they're so focused on strategy. It talks about why certain moments land, why they're good, and how brands are just tapping into culture effectively, and how PR professionals can really learn from these different campaigns. So I really just saw it as an opportunity to keep myself up to date, but also allowing people to read something, weekly that they can digest and kind of use for their own marketing or PR campaigns that might be helpful for them. But it's really focused on strategy, being curious about what other people are doing, and just staying up to date on everything that's happening in the PR and marketing field.
Yeah. Are there any recent campaigns or things that you've noticed that you're like, hey, this is something that we as marketers or communicators or PR professionals should be paying attention to, or just something that kind of inspired you as a professional that you're going to be tuning into?
Yeah, I think more so a cultural moment. I would say sensory marketing is having a big moment right now. I've seen the trend pop up a lot, especially in beauty personal care. Brands are doing it a lot. And I think it's because a lot of brands are moving away from just like the visual first storytelling, which is just showing what the product looks like, but are focused on, the touch of the product, the scent, the sound, and also like flavors. Like we've seen a lot of beauty products have whipped cream on top of them, in these ads and everything. And I think it just is a great way to trigger nostalgia for a lot of people, emotions, and just it looks edible as well, and it just makes it feel more real and more memorable. So great examples are like the NYX's like butter gloss, the rise of milky toners. Rhode is They do this, I think, in every campaign that they have. Glossier's Black Cherry line. So just relating things back to sensory, whether it's taste, feel, touch, smell, is doing really well right now. One of my favorite campaigns recently is the clothing brand Meshki. They launched a spot where they were creating miniature versions of their clothes, and it was entirely out of noodles. Like it was made from pasta. Yeah, so like they made little shirts and little skirts made out of pasta, and I was just like, this is like it was so entertaining to watch because you were just watching this like this food creator, I guess, just making food or making clothing out of food, and it was just, I mean, it caught my attention, so I'm sure it caught everyone else's attention. I'm like, this is amazing. And
Oh my gosh.
I know, so I think it's just, sensory marketing, it does a great job at just bringing digital content to life and making it feel more tangible. So when you're, eating something or drinking something, you may be reminded of the brand or the product just in your everyday life, just because it reminds you of everyday foods like donuts and whipped cream or cherries and everything else. So I would say that's the biggest thing that I've noticed when I'm writing about my additions in my newsletter. A lot of sensory marketing campaigns right now, especially in the beauty space.
Oh, cool. Okay. I have seen this. I just it didn't even occur to me that it's kind of this bigger, grander trend, but it
It
totally
is.
is. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
a lot of brands are doing it. I think it started off with like beauty brands, but now like
Yeah.
Meshki being more clothing, like
That's
clothing brands are doing it. Especially like a lot of luxury brands are doing it. So yeah, it's a big thing right now.
Oh my goodness. Awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that.
of
I will
course.
definitely do some more digging into that after this.
You might get hungry after doing it, like I did
Oh, I
after
know.
watching the pasta one. So,
Oh my gosh. I'm excited to see that. That's so fascinating to me. And I'm trying to like picture it in my head what it
all
could
you see, it's
potentially
like the
look like.
pasta being made, that you see like little hands like rolling up the pasta into pants or into a
Oh my
skirt.
gosh.
It was amazing.
Excellent. Excellent. I love it. So another thing that you have written a little bit about is this idea of the value of starting before you feel ready. What's kind of a recent example of where this mindset has come to life in your career, or an example of a risk that you recently took that you feel paid off professionally?
Yeah, one example I think is guest lecturing. So I've actually been asked to guest lecture like a few times now, and it's never been something that I really thought about doing because I've always felt like I was still very new to the space, even though I do have a few years under my belt. But it just never occurred to me that I would be speaking, to a classroom full of like future communicators and practitioners. So that's one thing I would say that I've done before I felt ready. And I think it was great to have people who reached out to me because they felt that my experience and my knowledge was worth sharing. So I really do believe that just showing up and doing things before you feel ready is essential for growth. I feel so much more comfortable doing things like that now. I have people that come to me that are new to the PR and communication space come to me and ask me questions about my experience and what I think they should do in certain situations. So it's been great for me to learn from them, but then also teaching them based on my experience and things. And doing that has opened up doors for me to do additional guest lectures, newsletter interviews, things like this on a podcast. So I'm just really thankful for it. And, I never thought it would be something I'd be doing because I never felt ready for it, but here I am.
Yeah. Well, it's like obviously when you were reached out to, there was something that stood out to
Yeah.
that team or that professor that made you, to them qualified for that. So I think that's amazing. And that kind of goes into my next question too, is just this confidence of beginning to share and to
Yeah.
talk about what you're doing. A lot of people I'll talk to just even about LinkedIn alone, they're like, I don't feel like I have much to contribute, or what am I going to share? Or
Mhm.
I don't think I'm the one who should be talking about this, or, I have a boss who maybe should be sharing about the experience. So, what's kind of your, encouragement or confidence building advice that you would give to say, hey, just kind of like get out there and just get going with it?
My best advice would be to recognize that your experience is unique compared to anyone else's. So we all have these unique experiences, even if you feel like you don't have that many years of experience under your belt or you haven't experienced this yet in your career. Your experience or the route that you've taken to get to where you are is unique, and you don't know who else is going through the same thing or who else just wants to see, someone that looks like them or that came from the same background as them kind of go through the same thing and how they have learned from it. So I think that's my best advice, is just realize that yes, there's so many other people in this field and there's so many other people with more experience than you do, but no one has the same, route or the same experience. So really talk about your unique perspective and how you got through things, because I think that's what people want to hear. They don't want to hear, what everyone else has done, all the time. They want to hear unique experiences, and we all have that. So that's one thing I've had to tell myself is that my experience is unique. At one point, I thought I was going to be an intern forever because I had like 3 internships. That's a unique experience. Some people have had one, some people have had 10. So, other people who might be going through the same thing, they want to hear my story or, how I got through certain things. So that's one thing that keeps me wanting to share and wanting to just get out there more.
Yeah, that's really great. And going back to the internship example,
Mhm.
chances are if you're feeling that and, there's someone else out there that's feeling the same thing. So I tell people that too. It's, a lot of experiences are not unique to you. Sure, there are a
Right,
lot of them, but experiences meaning like, things like that, where it's
right.
kind of this career roadblock or whatever it is. And so how can you kind of share your unique approach to
Right,
navigating that?
exactly.
That's a great reminder, because
Yeah,
we all have that we face.
yeah, because I mean, a lot of us, we went to school for PR or
Mm,
communications, and then we had an internship, then we got our first, big job, but the way we went about it is different. So your
right.
your experience, it's not unique, as you're not the only one that's been through
Right.
it, but the way that you went about it, or how you were feeling,
Hmm.
or the different things that you felt, those are unique, and that's what you can
Yep.
speak to, which makes your story different from other people's.
Exactly. And even if you're in the thick of it too, I think that's the other thing. Like I try to tell people, I'm like, you don't have to just post on LinkedIn when things went right or like you're at the end of a phase of something. Like
Yeah.
talk about being in the middle of it. Like if you're currently working through something or you're navigating a challenge, like share what that is and share maybe how you're currently going through it. But you never know too. Like I feel like that can open up you to receiving some really awesome insight and advice from other people that wasn't expected. So don't be
Exactly.
afraid. I know, like, obviously, authenticity and transparency is a buzzword that those are both buzzwords we're throwing around a lot, but it
Yeah.
really is super important.
Yeah.
So,
And also, it's a great way
yeah,
for people to see how you handle roadblocks too. And
right.
that's a really big skill to have when you get into the workforce, is there's going to be so many roadblocks that you
Yep.
face. So showing how you got past those things, or showing, the different questions that you asked yourself, or the different things that you tried, is, that's a unique experience and is worth sharing.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of like following on the career trend as we close out here. I think I probably asked you this question last time, but curious what you'll say now. What do you know now that you wish you knew earlier on in your career?
I think this is going to be definitely different from what I shared last year, but I think over time I've learned the importance of discernment versus just textbook education when it comes to PR and marketing and communications, because the more experience you have, the more you can stop and be like, wait, I don't think this is going to land right with our audience, or we need to be more culturally sensitive, or, whatever. You just start to go through different experiences and realize that this just might not work. So if I knew that early on, I'm sure I would have had a completely different experience. But I think discernment is definitely something that's helped me in my career more than just, what I've learned in school, which has been also really helpful. But as you move up in a career like comms, it's really trial and error that you start
Yeah.
to learn from, and start to kind of build things on top of.
Mhm.
So that's what I would say is one thing I wish I knew.
Yeah. Yeah, so good. So good. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that because that's absolutely, I think, what a lot of us need to hear. So thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for sharing that. Um, as always, this has been so wonderful. I'm definitely gonna have you back. We'll do it more frequently, but we'll do
Yeah.
regular check-ins, just see what you're
Mhm.
learning, hear how you're doing, that kind of thing.
I love
But thank
that.
you so much
Of
for
course.
joining me again. Of course, I will have everything linked below, but give us a little snapshot of where we can connect with you and stay in touch with you.
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn, Kamara Turner. And then also my newsletter is linked on there, Pulse and Perspective. I post every Monday, new brand and marketing trends that are happening and how they intersect with strategy. So you can find me there. And then all my contact information is also on there. So that's where you can find me.
Amazing. Kamara, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all that you
Yes.
do, contribute, and excited to chat soon.
Yes, same here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, I would love your feedback. And if you're ready to take things to the next level, sign up for my weekly newsletter in the show notes. You'll get weekly career and marketing insights straight to your inbox. And if you have an idea for a future Marketing Happy Hour episode, shoot me an email, hello@marketinghappyhr.com. Thank you again, and I'll see you next Thursday.